ready for the OG?
Hello and welcome to another episode of All the Hype. I am Yo Barry Yo. Today with me as co-host, the one and only Manny Simone Cards. How's it going, Manny?
Hello, Barry, and the rest of the social media worlds. Glad to be here with co-hosting with you, and I'm looking forward to the show. We have a very special guest, and can't wait to get this started.
Yeah, today we do have a very special guest, the legend himself, the original Pokemon theme song singer, Jason Paige.
Jason Paige! Yo Barry, 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 yo. What's up, party people? Jason Paige here on the looper, kicking it live right now. Yo Barry, yo Barry, yo. What's up, guys? Jason Paige here. I got my looper present, and I'm ready to get live on this interview. It's a musical interview. I make sure I'm always prepared with a little my own background, my own soundtrack. I come with a soundtrack. Yo Barry, yo Barry, yo Barry, yo.
I tell you what, Jason, this is called All the Hype, and you're definitely bringing the hype. I can say that. This is probably going to be the hypest interview thus far. How's it going, Jason? Thanks for joining in.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
So this is All the Hype, where basically it's just a deep dive into the life of our guest, and today it's you, Jason Paige.
Deep dive. Let's dive.
Yeah.
Deep dive. Deep dive. Deep dive. Deep dive. All the hype. Deep dive, deep dive, deep dive, deep dive.
Barry, I feel like we've gotten like 3 different theme songs. The first,
I think
I charge you afterwards for these. Don't worry. It's a 10, 15 grand. Don't worry about it. Waive the fee.
Man, perfect. Because I can't afford that right now. So let's just hop right into it. Jason, yeah, you are the original Pokemon theme song singer.
OG,
right here with us today. Now, you explained this before, but for the ones who maybe haven't heard it, can you quickly explain how did you actually get this job of becoming the original Pokemon theme song singer?
Well, I'm going to have to stand up for this.
Let's do it.
As you can see on my shirt right here, this is basically, I don't like to talk about my shit. So I just wear the shirt that lets everybody know everything that has happened in my past.
Walking billboard.
Other things. Yeah, him too. He's got a shirt too. It lets everybody know what's going on. I'm what has been called a vocal acrobat. I have voiced for all of these brands. You know, when you get nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea. I see a little silhouette of a can. Mountain Dew, time to do the slam dangle. Subway is fresh. And, you know, Lego Mania. I mean, and 100 other things that you definitely know. Catch the feeling, catch that feeling. Oh, Coca-Cola. You know, I mean, you can ask me about things on my shirt.
A little bit of everything.
Yeah, it's a little bit of everything. So at the time of Pokemon, I was, and I'm still currently doing numbers of sessions a week. At the time of Pokemon, maybe 3 to 7 sessions a week. At least once a day, I'd be going somewhere in New York City to sing something for some corporate brand, some background singing situation, some movie, some original project, some game, some TV show, some strange person's pet project, a million different things. And Pokemon was one of those. I had worked for the composers on Domino's Pizza Delivers, and some other spots. And when they got the brief, they thought I'm sure it said young rock kid sound or young rock voice, and they said, "Oh, Jason could do that." But I'm moving my voice into many different sounds and many different styles. So, that's part of the trade, is to be able to satisfy whatever the motive is for the project, whether that be emotional, whether that be spiritual, whether that be financial, character-wise. And that's basically how I came to get the gig. And then you guys did the rest. When you went out and bought the toys, and you bought and watched the TV show, and you bought the games, and you bought the cards, and you invested thousands and thousands of hours in your childhood experience without any knowledge of who the person was, without ever even really thinking about it. And of course, without even the mention of it at the end of the show when the credits rolled either. So, which I think, in a strange way is to the advantage of the project Pokemon as it exists. If it was a dude sitting there with a guitar, like playing, "You with me, gotta catch 'em all, Pokemon," and, rocking out like a music video style, it would have detracted from what it meant to you in your imagination. So, that's one of the good things about not getting credit for these things until you grow up, and then you want to know who's that guy that sang the song that inspired my childhood. I didn't think about it until now, and here we are talking about it finally.
You're talking about it really inspiring, because it is deep within our hearts. I remember, getting off the school bus as a kid, coming home, turning on the TV, and then you just hear your voice. They gotta catch them all. And it's just the greatest thing ever. I mean, when you're recording this song, right, at any point in time, did you realize how big this was going to be?
Well, like I said, Lego Mania, brand new toys that make you shiver, your heart races, your feet tap. It's enough to make you quiver, it's enough to make you snap. So Lego Mania was already Lego Mania, and Lego had been a 20-year or 10 to 15-year project. At that point, I had Legos when I was a kid, and I knew Lego was huge, and I sang that and co-wrote that song as well. It was on 7 or 8 commercials at the time. It made a lot of money, and nobody knows what the future is. So obviously, we couldn't have imagined the realities that have been created. The VR, the AR, the internet was barely created at the time. So. But in my mind, I'm going for it. I'm going for it with everything I do. I try to commit myself wholeheartedly to each situation, to each moment of life. And at that point, that's what I was doing. I'm there to hit this thing out of the park, and not just come in and do a job and be out of there. And so I'm imagining hitting it out of the park. It's just that the park was not. We never imagined how big this park actually could be, until the imaginations of billions of people stretched this park out to what it is today, and continues to stretch this park out to what it is today. And that's what you're doing right now. Could you have imagined that this interview that you're doing right now on your show could reach 250 billion people over the course of the next 10 years? No, I mean,
Definitely.
maybe you.
There's no way.
In mediums that have yet to be created, this video will be shared because of you guys. But you're going for it. You got it all set up. You're prepared. We're trying to take this as far as we possibly can. Every moment, living to its fullest.
Always,
so
always.
Jason, you say you pour your heart and soul in every project you do. You poured your heart and soul in the Pokemon theme song, and in return, it became arguably the biggest theme song ever. It's known worldwide, and it's made so much money. But I've heard you say in interviews that they didn't really compensate you too well. I think you said you're around 28 years old, and you didn't have the best contracts. Would you mind going into that a little bit and talk about that?
Basically, it got bigger than they thought it would ever get in rapid pace. So what they were basically compensating me for was something that didn't include the 30 other things that had happened in a short period of time between when I sang it and when I didn't sign the contract. So that contract was supposed to take care of all these other uses, but they didn't know how many uses that would have popped up and had been created in such a short period of time. So it just became a matter of settling out of court with all of those companies that created these new uses for the song, the videotapes, they looked at toys and the games that it was on, the record and the various things that the record went on, the TV show, and then there's just so many things that were happening at the time, and they thought it was just going to be an album. They thought it was just going to be a song and a record, and that record contract just covered the song and the record, but not anything else. So that's why I didn't sign that particular agreement, because it wasn't accounting for everything else that was there. I had a friend who sang the He-Man doll, a little He-Man, and he sang this little thing in a doll, so I had to ask all the people, like, what is the standard rate for each one of these uses that were popping up, and and try to figure out a way to be compensated for them. But no amount of money it would have been equal to the compensation that is the comments on the YouTube video. I mean, literally, the way that people's lives have been affected, and they're giving that back to me through comments that they're posting publicly, is more valuable than any monetary compensation I ever could have received. And the monetary compensation is, it's relative. Like I said, I already had Lego Mania, I had a whole bunch of other things that were doing way more than this ever did in terms of compensation, or ever could have at the time in terms of compensation. So, the real compensation is the happiness of billions of people, and that it's actually being expressed to me in succinct, clear comments on a YouTube video, and in letters, and in live events, and with people directly and personally. But those things I hold on to in my memory. But these YouTube comments, there was a comment just a short while ago. Somebody said something about how many times that I saved their life, that the song saved their life when they were being suicidal, and they go back to the song, and it brought him and his sister together, and it was like, you pay me what you want to pay me. That is more than any compensation I could ever have imagined. And I'm catching up to the lack of compensation financially in the past with, my own career, with the content that I'm creating and the interaction I'm having with fans at live events, and through being my entire self, not just being Pokemon. But of course, Pokemon is a large part of it now. But yeah, it's unexpected success can create these kinds of problems, basically. So, for instance, we did this song right here, and I just did 3 loop jams, and all of a sudden 3 people take those loop jams and they put them on some records, and now those records are out and they're getting remixed by 5 other DJs, and now you guys can't even track down the DJs that are making money on those 5 remixes, and now a toy is made with that little remix on it, and that becomes a meme over here, and it's like, what do we do? How do we even collect that and compensate for it when we didn't sign anything here? We just have a little Instagram message that says, "Hey, I'll be on your show." And that's kind of what happened before. I was just trusting the producers, and they were just trusted by the company, and no one knew how big it would get. So,
you think it was intentional? Like, you think they knew? And the way they wrote the contract?
No, absolutely not. I mean, of course, in record contract world, the labels always want to take as much as they can and give the artist as little as possible. So that's just sort of how it works. But we know that, and we say no. We go to the table and we say, I need this and I need that, and the lawyers battle it out until you get somewhere. But in this case, we didn't get very far because their pockets are so deep at this point, we couldn't keep going. So we just settled. We just settled for, out of court to make it easier.
Gotcha. And as you mentioned, it blew up quick. Like, I mean, who would have knew? But when was it for you that it clicked, like, this thing is growing crazy? When was that moment that clicked for you?
When I was when I was driving down the street and the radio would play the song, when it was on Radio Disney, like 4 times an hour they would play this song. It was one of the most played songs on Radio Disney for a while. And also when I walked into the Blockbuster video store and this guy was there and he went, this guy was at Blockbuster.
Jason has some vintage toys. I've never seen that before.
It's amazing.
Oh, Barry,
So
I need one of
awesome.
those, Barry.
It just keeps
I need
going
one of
all
those.
day long, and the people at Blockbuster were just losing their minds. When I walked in and bought a couple of those, as gifts for my family one year, they were like, "Oh, thank God you're taking those out of there. We hate those things; they're driving us crazy." And I was like, "Sorry about that." I felt personally responsible. I was personally responsible in that moment for driving them crazy. But that was definitely one of the moments for sure.
So Jason, you worked for a jingle house, and I would say you're like the master of the jingle. You've done so much, and you did the theme song. Would you consider that a perfect theme song? And if not, anything you would want to change about it?
Just sit right back and you'll hear a tale of a faithful trip that started from this tropic port aboard this tiny ship. The mate was a mighty sailor man, the skipper brave and sure. Key changes. Nice to have a key change, and Gilligan's Island key changes every single verse. It keeps going up. It's really nice. I would throw, and actually, it does have a key change in the guitar solo. So maybe that comment is moot. No, it's a great theme song. I mean, the key change happens in the long version when they went and made the album version. When we made the album version, but yeah, it's a great theme song. It doesn't. It can be applied to anything, and you take out the word Pokemon, you could put in a whole bunch of other words, which I did. Ron Paul, it's you and me. I know it's my destiny, Ron Paul. When I was shilling for Ron Paul back in the day, when I believed in the 2-party system.
And you did a COVID parody with the song as well, right?
COVID-19, gotta trace them all. Yeah. So it works for all kinds of things, and might as well take advantage of it, right?
Yeah. How long does that take you to record something like that? Like you have to think of the lyrics and sing it and record the vocals?
Well, it's all about the writing. I'm writing things. Sometimes they're a little bit more take a little bit longer because of the writing. But you get a good idea and you just go through with it, and that's how you communicate effectively, try to get on top of something topical. Now, when I did the COVID-19 thing, I was sort of playing the idea through, and it's unfortunately, the whole point was to play it through to show how absurd and how far this is going to go in an absurd way, like a sort of a caricature of the whole situation. And it turns out that most of the things that I mentioned in that video are playing exactly through as I jokingly suggested in the video. And maybe putting that energy out wasn't such a good idea, because now we've got all those things that I was singing about, like they were going to be jokes. Please don't let this happen. But now it's happening. But yeah, the song is a very well written song. The lyrics are really great. They're very inspirational, and I can apply them to life situations, and the philosophy of it is something that I can really get behind, or interpret in a way that I can get behind. To be the very best, like no one ever was, is you fulfilling your highest potential, in your unique individual way that no one else can, like no one ever was. That's what we're all doing. Our unique voice, our unique contribution to the world. And to catch them is our real test, and sort of that I kind of interpret as catching our friends and catching the people around us, and giving them our gifts is our cause, basically. Training them to be to be part of our winning influence, basically. Influencing others with our unique perspectives. and traveling across the land, seeing the world, to understand, to teach Pokemon or our friends or those around us the power that's inside. And that power inside of us is our imagination. It is what I've got right here. Use imagination to creatively self-express. It's one of my principles that I like to live by, to sort of allow this power inside of us to create new realities of our unique self-expression. So, my own philosophies are linked up in the lyrics very well, or else I wouldn't be able to sing it as honestly and as enthusiastically as I do.
It's a great song, and like you said, it is very inspirational and motivational. But I have to know, because not many people have been in your shoes. Is there anything negative that might come with being the voice of one of the biggest Pokemon theme songs ever?
Interesting. I have been thinking about this because there's nothing negative. I mean, other than the initial stress of trying to be compensated. That was a negative thing because it was so big they didn't know. Nobody knew and couldn't really get a handle on that. And recently I'd thought, wow, I'm really like representing myself as this voice. And as you see, I've got 100 other voices that I use. So when somebody says, hey, we need a guy that sounds like Ray Charles. Georgia, the whole day through, there's an old sweet song, leaves Georgia on my mind, yeah, oh Georgia. And they go, oh, we need a Ray Charles voice. Oh, let's get that Jason Paige guy. Oh, isn't he the Pokemon guy? Oh, no, he's not right for this. So people will pigeonhole me now, knowing that I'm the Pokemon theme singer, and probably discount my other various talents. However, those are I already have an established reputation for doing all kinds of voices and all kinds of characters for major brands for 25 years. So those people are still going to call me to do the 10 different characters in Sausage Party, or the 12 different characters in the Muppet movie, or, any other various character they're going to want. But that's definitely a potential negative for new people. However, it hasn't really happened yet. I mean, I'm still doing all those other characters. I just did a thing for an opera thing a couple of days ago. Somebody wanted me to sing opera, and then somebody else needed me to sing like a Richard Marx type thing a few days ago. So, I'm constantly doing that. The one thing that could be negative, and I haven't really experienced this yet, is people acting very different than they would normally because they know who I am. Like the response to celebrity of, oh my God, it's him. And then they can't be themselves, and they can't put their words together, and they can't communicate because they're so nervous. And that doesn't happen very often because they're still putting it together that I'm the voice of their childhood. I'm physically, and my name and my face has not been in their whole lives. So usually it's just they're like, oh my God, I just found out that he's the guy, and now I'm just I'm stunned for a second. But I'm not this person that they made up in their minds for their whole lives to then be so affected by. I'm a voice that's been in their minds their whole lives, but I'm not a person that's been in their minds until just recently. So, but those who do follow me adamantly on social media and then meet me in person are, it's not negative at all. It's actually incredibly positive. However, they can't put sentences together. And the one guy was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe I'm meeting you. Oh my God!" And you put your arm around me, and I'm like, I was crying, man. You just made me cry. Like the Pokemon dude just put his arm around me, and so the people are really enthusiastic. That, I imagine, if your whole life is just filled with people like that, it could get a little bit annoying. But it's also, I had incredible gratitude. When that guy walked away, I cried because he was so giving with his experience that he had with me. And it was he was telling me about the first Comic-Con that I did. I didn't even know about Comic-Cons until 2016. I had no idea that there were this generation of people that were completely infected with the song. I mean, I knew, but I didn't know that it really mattered to this degree. So I did a Comic-Con, and this was a guy who came to that Comic-Con, and he heard the voice and he said, I came over and you put your arm around me and you started singing a song to me and you sang this whole song to me with your arm around me. And I was like, oh my God. That guy just recently came to the LA Comic-Con that I was at a couple of days ago and told me the story of meeting me for the first time. So it was really cool. It was really cool. And then
that's awesome. Because I met you for the first time at the Collecticon in Houston. And I have to say, meeting you was probably one of the best experiences that I had from the whole event. You're like the coolest, most down-to-earth guy like ever. You was just chill. We was just talking. It was like, it was super cool.
Oh, dude, thank you. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, I can be humbled because the song is the celebrity, not me. I mean, as much of a celebrity as I already am in the rest of this stuff that I do, the song in this case is the real celebrity. I'm just the trigger that activates the song's power in your mind. It's not me. It's you. You've committed to it. I spent 4 hours on it. You spent 4,000 hours or more. And I'm just trying to catch up at this point. So I don't have an ego about it because I know it's not me. I know it's you. I just did the work. And I do the same work for everything I do to try to hit it out of the park, like I said. So it's great to be able to not be swamped when I get into a place and then still have the effect over people when they find out.
And you say the song is a celebrity. And this song has also made people celebrities. The biggest one I could think of is SMOSH. Yeah. They lip sync your song, becomes one of the biggest videos on YouTube, and now they're doing their own thing now. But that really started their career from your voice.
Absolutely. That was the first music video for Pokemon. That was the first music video for the Pokemon theme song. It tapped into everybody's sort of need to put a face to the song. And I had my YouTube channel at the time. I was in 2005. I hadn't done the Pokemon theme song at that point, but I did reach out to those guys and was like, hey, like 3 or 4 times through the YouTube messaging service, and they never got back to me. But then YouTube was actually sold to Google primarily because of a couple of videos that they couldn't handle the traffic. The dance video and the SMOSH video. SMOSH was probably the #1 video for the majority of the life of YouTube before it was sold to Google for $5 billion. So the celebrity of Google, of YouTube in and of itself, YouTube is a celebrity made by the Pokemon theme song and by SMOSH actually. But first the Pokemon theme song and then lip syncing it. But yeah. And of course now you have all the myriad of Pokemon celebrities on YouTube with their channels with millions of followers, just literally opening packs or talking about Pokemon, or Pokemon Go celebrities. It's an ecosystem that is driven by people's love for it, not by Pokemon, which is such an amazing thing. They were tight gripped about it for a while, but then they kind of loosened the grip and they let people do what they want to do, and they license to more people, and they have people creating original art, original channels, or original music, original programming, all based around Pokemon. So I kind of see it as like Pokemon is the top of the pyramid, and then which is worth $100 billion at this point, I think is what their numbers are. Oh, I got to make sure I don't run out of power here. Yeah, $100 billion on Pokemon. But then you've got everybody down under here, the Comic-Cons that Pokemon isn't involved at, the hundreds and hundreds of Comic-Cons that exist every year, with just 40% of the content is Pokemon stuff at these Comic-Cons. It's amazing. And that's just people inspired by love. So you got this top corporation that is creating content very well, by the way, and then letting it get distributed by all the people that love it. And those are the celebrities of today because of that love and their commitment to it. SMOSH wasn't trying to make money. They're just trying to express their enthusiasm for the song. You know, and I'm really not doing this for money. I'm expressing my gratitude for the love that people are expressing to me. So I'm just it's just like a back and forth giving back, and part of it has to do with finance because people are going in their garages and finding these Pokemon cards now. and going, oh my God, this love I had is now worth all this money. So now I can actually create businesses around the thing I love, which is that's why businesses are successful, because people love them enough to do all the hard work. And if you don't love what you're doing, then you probably won't be successful at it. So, and I love what I'm doing as a singer, so I'm continuing to give myself vocally to this community, even though the compensation is here and there. It gets some places it's big, some places it's not. I mean, here I give myself to you for an hour, just because I'm appreciate what you did, and thank you so much for what you did, because that was great. I just left a comment on your thing you were doing for love, and then you did more for love, and now I'm back here. So it's just this back and forth giving situation that happens in the ecosystem. Right. So it's great. So thank you for that. It was really cool.
And that was a really the coolest moment ever is when I looked on TikTok and I saw that you actually you posted my video to your Instagram, which was like the coolest thing ever. I was like, it's like the original Pokemon Jason Paige posted my video to his Instagram, and then you followed me back on TikTok. I was like, this is the greatest. This is the greatest, because I was just doing this in honor of you. And really in the hopes that you see it, just to take just to show my appreciation to you and for you to, to do that. That was awesome.
That's great, man. Thank you. You're extremely talented. And we've been getting into cards. Like I just got the cards. I just figured out the cards during the pandemic. I was like, let me put a Pikachu card up and see if anybody wants to buy an autographed Pikachu card. I've been autographing posters, and I have them on my website. I got a flying tie on my website. It's part of my costume. I actually can see the flying ties in the Funko Pop as well.
Oh,
just doing all kinds of products and things that I'm trying to offer to my fans. And then I tried the card, and all of a sudden the card starts selling. I'm like, oh, there's a card community out there, a giant card collecting community that I know about. And then I started creating cards, and I got all these original cards that people are doing. And then I saw your original cards. They took that. That's a new one right there. It's a Lightning card pack. As a matter of fact, it just came out today. This collaboration with Lightning Cards.
Sweet.
They do a Pokemon pack of like rare cards and super rare cards on Amazon. So that card is in the Lightning card pack, and there's 250 awesome. Of them signed. So anyway, I saw your card and I was like, oh, this guy's doing original cards too. It's just everybody's taking this card thing and putting their own imaginative spin to self-express creatively onto it, and that was it. So you're doing your thing. You're a superhero. You're your own unique superhero. So I was like, share that, dude.
That's right. When you talk about really creativeness, we created this group, the Poke Hype House, which you're on our podcast, All the Hype. But there's so many creators that are involved in Pokemon that covers a vast variety of just different things, where they all put out their own unique twist on it, show their own creativeness. And it's really amazing what like you talked about, Pokemon just gave us this thing, but the community is what turned it into this huge thing.
Yeah, if the Pokemon Corporation is worth $100 billion, I would say it's $1 trillion down here amongst the people that gets transferred and interacted. And they get the $100 billion up at top of Pokemon, but the $1 trillion of commerce and love inspired by the love is down on the bottom. And we're part of that down here. And honestly, I'd rather be in the bottom where all the real people are than up at the top, hired by Pokemon to do a certain thing that's corporate controlled. Whereas we can create our own ecosystem. We can exist in the ecosystem down here and create more value that we're in control of, as opposed to it being managed by the corporate Pokemon headquarters.
You're a performer. Like you do best among the people, especially at the conventions. When I see you, you're the most entertaining person that I've ever seen at a convention with your singing. And during like box breaks where people are opening packs, where that could be pretty boring to watch, you're singing the cards out. Is the coolest thing. It makes it so much more fun. And you bring you really bring light, positivity, energy to everyone. I was at a Florida Pokemon convention a few months back that you were at. I think it was in Stuart, Florida.
Yeah.
I was selling artwork there. You were in one room and I'm in the other room, so we never like really crossed paths. But I remember you came in, walked from out your room outside to my room with your mic, just singing all around the room, just trying to hype everyone up. It was awesome. Yes, you're a phenomenal performer.
Yeah, a lot of these, even the small environments don't have proper sound equipment and mic equipment. So I bring this silly little mic that has a little speaker on it. Jason Paige is about to perform in the other room. In the other room. Jason Paige is about to perform in the other room. The other room. Jason Paige is about to perform in the other room. The other room. Jason Paige is about to perform in the other room. The other room. Jason Paige is about to perform in the other room. The other room. Jason Paige is about to perform in the other room. The other room. And I bring the looper around to. I know you guys can't see it right there.
I love it.
I bring the looper to the box breaks now, and I create a little groove, and then I just go into the. I get a pack. Here we go. What's in the Vivid Voltage? What's gonna be in the pack? What's in the Vivid Voltage? Let's see where it's at.
Oh snap! We got an exclusive
Vivid Voltage. Let's see what's in the Vivid Voltage. Vivid Voltage, Vivid Voltage. Let's see what's in the Vivid Voltage. Vivid Voltage, Vivid Voltage. Let's see what's in the Vivid Voltage.
White code.
Watch him pull the rainbow. Rainbow Pikachu. There you go.
There it is. Get the code.
What is the trick on this one, guys?
4 cards.
All right. Here we go. In the other room, Vivid Voltage. Vivid Voltage. Let's see what's in the Vivid Voltage. Here we go. Let's see what's in the Vivid Voltage. We got our energy. We got a mint tank. We got a money in it. We got a beauty, yeah. Got a Pharisee. Got a didn't day. We got a drill bird. We got a Oshwat. What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be? It's a dust go, let the dust go. It's a dust go, let the dust go. Let's see what's in the Vivid Voltage. Vivid Voltage. Oh, it's a Galvantule. It's a Galvantule. Voltage, Vivid Voltage. Let's see what's in the Vivid Voltage.
Here it goes.
Here we go.
Let's see. Oh, there we go. Hollow.
Genesect.
Yeah.
There
Make
we
it a little
go.
more interesting. Come on, that's it.
Oh yeah.
Way more
Jason,
interesting.
What do we get with the Genesect? Is that a good one? That's
Oh
good.
yeah.
Not necessarily.
It's good because you pulled it. It's a hollow.
Yeah. Sign it and it'll be worth something.
And assign it right. Exactly.
But Jason, I have to know, because what you were just showcasing right there, your beatboxing is amazing. Is that something that you always knew how to do, or did you taught yourself?
Back in the day, when I say back in the day, I mean like when I was starting bands back in high school. My first band would be rehearsing, and we'd have a rehearsal, and we'd be like, all right, we're playing Crazy Train. How do you play Crazy Train? Oh, you got to go. And we would like communicate, you go, and you go, and basically communicating the parts to each other. To learn the parts for the band's performances was how I started beatboxing. We started just imitating, and also that was the time when Rockbox came out, and Run DMC and all of those acts started doing it. So I've been beatboxing since back in the day, since back in the day, and now I mean I'm good, but what's happened in the past I'd say 5 years is the internet has exploded with beatboxers, and there are kids beatboxing with sounds that you wouldn't believe. I used to be in my own circles, and this is through all the sessions and all the musicians I've ever come in contact with. Up until about 5 to 7 years ago, I was the guy that could beatbox. I had more sounds. I just got more sounds. I got more variety and more experience. But now these kids on YouTube, they've got so many things going on. I'm now the 10th floor of a 100-floor building. I used to be the top floor of a 10-floor building. Now I'm way at the bottom. There's so many things they're doing. They're singing, they're beatboxing, they're like metric modulating, incredible jazz drummers, but with their mouths. It's unbelievable. And it's a language. It's an actual language, and I can only speak a little bit of it relative to how much that language has developed in the past few years.
They may be good, but I can guarantee you this. They did not beatbox with Aerosmith.
Yeah, that's so true.
No, they didn't. That was like I said, when Steven Tyler heard me, he was like, "Oh my God, this guy's the fucking best beatboxer I ever heard. I got to pull him out on stage." And he pulled me out on stage, and one of my best friends, Russ Irwin, was their keyboard player, and he went on tour with them, and I showed up at the first show to hang out and see the show, and I was backstage. And they were just doing warm-ups. Laga, haga, laga, haga, la. Laga, 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 haga. And I started going. Steven was like, whoa, holy shit, that's amazing. And then we would, have a good time backstage, jamming out anytime, any music, or he'd start singing anything. He said, "Pink is my new obsession." So he said, "I want you to come out on stage during the drum breakdown and just do that beatbox." And he told the drummer, and he told the other band, and he told the sound guy, "Give this guy a mic. When that song happens, I'm going to pull him out on stage." And I was like, yeah, right. Yeah, sure he is. I was there on the side of the stage, and he came over to the side of the stage and handed me a mic, and 40,000 people in an outdoor venue in Connecticut lost their minds for a minute when the beatbox dropped into the Pink song. So that led to a numbers of appearances with them in various situations, live and recording too. We did a couple of live recordings where I beatboxed throughout the whole song of a few different songs. Just to add to the vibe of it. But Pink, then we went on Howard Stern, and that became the sort of the remix of Pink, which is here.
Oh, here it is. Got it over here.
That Howard Stern put out. And just recently, Howard Stern went into his archives and put the video out of that. But that Pink remix was out there for a while.
I was watching that video, and I don't know if you looked at the comments of that video, but there's multiple comments saying, "That guy who's doing the beatboxing is amazing. That's making the performance." There's so many of those comments.
It's true.
Yeah. It's really cool. It was really cool. And at the time it's not as prominent of a skill. Now, beatboxers would be like, "Oh, that guy sucks."
How tasking is that to do that for a whole song?
Yeah, it was the first time I was really challenged to hold it down for a whole song with other musicians, professional playing in a live format where I couldn't mess it up. It was rough at first. I had to build up my stamina for sure.
Man, you must have a resume a mile long.
Well, it's long if I list all the things that you don't know about, that you don't recognize. And the shirt is just trying to make use of all the things that are familiar, they are recognizable. But there's tons of stuff that's not on that. They didn't make the shirt. Like Rick and Morty. I just did a song on Rick and Morty, which is really cool. I got random cultural tropes to love, like apple pie and OJ's glove. Yeah. I got a 6-foot cigarette baseball dog and an Abraham 911 Lincoln dog, baby. Yeah. And now I've been told I'm gonna be a turkey. It's crazy. There's a video out of it and all, and all the Rick and Morty footage when that song appeared in the show about a month ago, 2 months ago.
That's amazing. And you said it before. You call yourself you're a vocal acrobat, but it shows like your range and the amount of styles you can do. I have to say, my favorite performance of yours is a video where you're explaining to a crowd how you performed the rap for Michael Jackson, Black and White, but you sung the whole song.
Oh yeah,
a cappella. You did the guitar and everything. When I watched that for the first time, I was like, this is amazing right here. That's
putting the looper
favorite.
together, telling stories, and using the looper to recreate the story and, tell the story pretty much how it is. And then at the end of it, I showed the clip of the actual concert where I'm not seeing it all. Another one of those times when, you don't know who's doing it. There's 3 dudes on stage holding microphones as props, just, posing with microphones. And, this is kind of weird. Like, why are those guys on stage? They never put the microphones to their mouths to do anything. Interesting.
And that night you saw Michael Jackson rip his pants, right?
Yes. We had little monitors in front of us because we couldn't see the front of the stage. And in the monitor was a shot from behind of Michael Jackson so that he could turn around and, and conduct us, and we could see him because we couldn't see him in a straight line of sight. And on that monitor, when he was facing the audience, you can see his underwear hanging out of his split pants. But that got to happen when you're dancing your face off like that guy was. Amazing.
Was he one of your favorite singers?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Him and Stevie Wonder are the greatest inspirations in terms of my vocal production or my vocal just sort of excitement and, studying them and reproducing them and performing with them, except not Stevie Wonder. I'm gonna hold off on Stevie Wonder as long as possible, because after that, what is there? There's nothing left.
Let me ask you, over the years you've been singing for so long and you've developed your voice and you've grown older and things have changed. How have you professionally changed your singing structure?
I worry less about it. You baby your voice, it acts like a baby. It's like a muscle, and if you keep working on it, it'll do all kinds of things. It'll really stretch. I mean, it's actually the wrong analogy, because a baby actually uses his voice all the time, screaming and crying all day long, and never loses its voice. So, baby your voice and it acts like a baby is kind of the wrong analogy, but you know what I mean. If you worry about your voice, that worry will be evident in your voice. If you don't worry about it and you just push through, your body can handle it and it'll repair itself afterwards if you put a little too much stress on it. But I do feel like, over the years, my range has definitely decreased. But at least my upper range has decreased, but I have found all kinds of stuff that's low in the my Mongolian throat singing, that I can make sounds that I wasn't even aware I could make back in the day. But I don't have that high, that pinging high stuff anymore, unless I'm really pushing hard. So, I think it's, it's interesting because the voice is so tied to the emotions, and, when you're emotionally, vulnerable, the first place to hear that is your voice. And it's almost like your voice is saying, don't express emotion. It doesn't want to let the emotion out. And as a singer, at least in theatrical productions and in my job is to get the emotion out. So that's also a healthy way of treating your voice. That's what the baby's doing. They're getting that emotion out, and that getting that emotion out doesn't hurt them. It uses them, and it actually builds them. It builds their strength. But good question. No one's ever asked me that before.
Yeah.
Awesome. We got to win. But Jason, let's go ahead and end it on this. What's next for Jason Paige? Do you have, you've done it all. Is there any goals that you're trying to achieve?
Well, first to catch them all, first of all. Goal is to catch all of the people that actually have the song revolving in their heads as children, to have them attach the face and the name to that, and to unlock that feeling inside of them that makes them feel that joy and that enthusiasm and that excitement for life, and that running home and getting off the bus and getting in front of the screen and watching it and being so happy that I can use my voice to unlock that feeling in them. And it doesn't even have to be with the Pokemon theme song. It could be with 1,000 other songs. And I'm doing those other songs in many different ways. I've just did a Pokemon remix that's really cool of the original vocal performance, basically reproduced with a EDM style track. And then I have 9 songs to follow up with that release as well. That's going to be coming out soon. And I'm also investing myself a little bit in the, obviously in the cards. And, you know, this card is now available on Amazon if you guys want to go to Lightning Cards on Amazon. But I'm investing myself in the metaverse world. There's a metaverse theme song that I sang for TCG World. Get in, get on, get everything you want. Come in, one and all. The future has begun. The metaverse is calling you to be the best you can become. So come on, get in, get on. In the metaverse, I will have property, and that property will reflect all of the art and output that I've created for over many years. My drawings, my music. I will be giving live performances in the metaverse as well, and it'll just be a place where I can share all of my gifts, basically, and music. My box breaks. It's like a place for the entire TCG world to interact. It's a metaverse built on a cryptocurrency called TCG coin, TCG2 right now, and it's just going to be what basically I think that Facebook is really hurrying up and getting their meta thing together because of companies like TCG World that are so far ahead of the game and doing this thing to basically create an environment for all the TCG world to interact in. It's a game, but the game is like the very basic part of it. What's really important about it is how we'll interact within this metaverse and how we'll be able to share our value the same way we're doing on Facebook now, but with a more amplified VR experience. You know, and you'll be able to have your actual window that you're live streaming, but in your VR experience, and you'll have the protections of the crypto based blockchain world, and you'll have less censorship because you won't have to be shut down by Facebook because you did something or somebody put some comment or reported you for something. So there's going to be a lot more freedom within the metaverse, I think, in this metaverse. Facebook's metaverse, I'm curious as to how that's going to work out, but I think it's going to have a lot of the same problems that Facebook has already. So just in this alternate world. So yeah, I'll be putting out more music like that in the metaverse and in the real world as well. And appending all the incredible conventions where the love is flowing in the Pokemon ecosystem, and sharing and bouncing back more content and for all of those people as well.
Jason, just to follow up on the metaverse and crypto and all that, where does your interest come for like all this tech? Because you seem very tech savvy. You're up to date on current times. I know you're into politics. You seem like a really smart dude. But where does that interest come from?
I think I guess I've always been like a rock and roll skeptic. Like I was a skeptic, like, you know, back in the day. My band had this song called Stand Up, and the lyrics were, now welcome to a brighter day. Maybe that's the wrong thing to say. Everything's a big disguise, yeah. Media controls the lies. I was already like writing stuff as a 21-year-old back in the 90s about the media manipulating things and just being like skeptical of authority and appeals to authority. And when I discovered Ron Paul, was having a conversation with my buddy about like Ron Paul had this Ron Paul dollar that people were using to interact, and then it got stopped because they didn't want people using alternate currencies. And my friend said, "Oh, you can you can use this thing called Bitcoin." And I was like, "Well, what do you mean?" And he sent me a link to it, and I was like, "Oh, it's actually e-gold, and the e-gold first." Just alternate currencies and like other ways for us to interact without authorities telling us what to do and how to conduct our lives. And I guess that's a libertarian sort of philosophy, but I just realized that I preferred to have more agency over my actions, and that makes me a more powerful person for myself, for my family, and my community. I'm more valuable when I have more agency. And my agency, it extends into how I interact with the world financially, and how I interact with the world in terms of food and water, and just, where I can go and when I can go there. And certainly we need governing, but that governing has often been corrupted by power, basically, by power and money. And anyway, that was my first introduction to Bitcoin and alternative currencies. And I thought, wow, this is a great way to empower people as individuals to interact with each other. And I mean, it can be very dangerous because you have to take responsibility now for your interaction. And that requires you to step up. But when you do that and you fail and you lose your money because you put the wrong codes in, or you did something wrong, you learn from those mistakes and you become better and more self-reliant. So, barring anything that kills you, it makes you stronger, So that's kind of the thing. It's like a red light is there, but you should be looking anyway. If you're just listening for the red light to tell you when to cross the street and when not to cross the street, and you're just going to go when it tells you to go, then you forget to pay attention to your environment, and you're going to get run down by that car that's not looking. You have to have your own agency. The more agency you have, the more successful you can be in your world creatively, and the more value you have for yourself, your family, and your community. So it goes back to the world when you have this agency anyway, because you're able to help more people. You're able to give back more. But yeah, that's kind of how, and I kind of just, I don't know where I got it from. I didn't have like rebellious parents that were like, fighting back at authority. I knew from school that school was not right, that what the teacher was telling me to do was not right, and that the information that I was learning in school was useless, and I was being stuck there for endless hours to do things that I didn't care about. And I guess that's where I learned to distrust authority was in public schools. I went to 10 different public schools in 12 years. Wow. Each one was exactly the same, following the same guidelines to repress the imagination of the individual and to fill it with nonsense that they didn't need. So I guess when I got out of school, I was like, anything that had to do with authority was like to be skeptical of. And that's our monetary system, because it all is handed down to us, and our food system, and in our legal system, and our medical system, and all these systems. We have to be the filter, the logical, critical thinking filter, in order to protect ourselves and make ourselves stronger, so that we can use these systems as well to our advantage. Not to reject them wholeheartedly, but to be able to take advantage of the things that are good and to reject the things that are bad, and to supplement ourselves. Because the FDA and its food pyramid is not the correct supplements that the body needs to be as healthy as possible. So,
that's about having open mind, proper judgment, critical thinking.
Critical thinking, yeah.
Be a scientist,
All the stuff that's not taught in school.
I know. It's crazy that you realize that in school. I didn't realize that stuff until like I'm 30 now, so like maybe mid 20s, later 20s, things were starting to click for me to like think for yourself and not trust everything you're told by the government or history books or whatever it may be. But yeah, I totally agree with that.
I'm really very very optimistic about how many people are sort of starting to wake up to that sort of perspective now more than ever because of COVID.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the gift of COVID right there, is that more people are having to take situations into their own hands, into their own critical thinking minds, because they just can't be told what to do to go left, and then they're told to go right, and then they're told to go left again, then they're told to go right. Eventually they're just like, all right, I've got to figure out where I need to go and stop being told where to go by everyone else. And that's pretty much it's a good thing. There's all the crazy stuff that's going on. That's one of the great things that is happening. It was a small group of people, small but powerful group of people up until the past 5 years, but now that group has grown by the tens of millions, I believe.
Jason, I want to thank you for joining in today. Really, this was an awesome interview, and really appreciate for you to actually agreeing to this. So thanks for joining in.
Oh yeah, absolutely, dude. Absolutely.
Could you please plug anything you want us to check out of yours?
Oh. Yeah, just check out jasonpaige.com. The brand new website is up, y'all. jasonpaige.com. And the new Amazon Lightning Card Collection collaboration right there. That's going to be really cool. 250 cards available with autographs for 250 people to get this.
Get them while you can.
jasonpaige.com/shop. Come on.
Linked out right there in the description. Just click the link. Go get you some merch, some autographs, some cards, whatever you want from Jason Paige.
Yeah.
At the convention. He's at every Pokemon convention, it seems.
Yes, I'll be at all the Collecticons next year. All the Collecticons I'm scheduled to be at. So come on down to Collecticon.
Well, me and Barry are trying to go to the one in Orlando.
Oh yeah. I will be there.
We would love to connect back up with you in person.
Yeah, thank you. And feel free to draw as many cards as you want. I'll share them on my Instagram. Keep me informed when this is going to go on, and I'll give you a little... Hit it now, y'all. Hit it now, y'all. Hit it now, y'all. Hit it now, y'all. Goodbye. Hit it now, y'all. Hit it now, y'all. Goodbye. 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 Hit it now, y'all. 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 Take it easy, guys. Thanks a lot for having me. I really appreciate it.
Bye. That was all the hype. We'll see y'all next time. Later.
All the hype. All the hype. All the hype. All the hype. All the hype with Jason P. 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 All the hype.